Do not wait up, Madison said, like my place in our marriage was somewhere between the porch light and the trash cans. I stood in our kitchen with the mortgage statement spread flat on the granite island. The paper was still warm from the printer. My thumb pressed into the corner so hard it left a crescent in the page. Grant needs me late, she added. Behind her voice, I heard music. Not office noise. Not keyboards. Not printers. Music. Low and expensive, the kind that plays under dim lights while people pretend they are still working. Grant needs you late again? I asked. Madison sighed into the phone. Do not start, Nathan. I have had a brutal day. You said that yesterday. And Friday. And the Tuesday before that. You like the house, right? You like the bills paid? Then do not act insecure every time I work past dinner. I looked down at the statement. My name was listed first. My checking account had made the payment. Again. I paid the mortgage this month, I said. She laughed once. It was not loud. That made it worse. It was the kind of laugh people use when they want you to understand that you are smaller than the room you are standing in. You pay bills, Nathan. I carry the room when we are with people who matter. There is a difference. The refrigerator hummed behind me. The oven clock changed from 10:57 to 10:58. I stared at the 2 coffee mugs in the sink, both hers, lipstick on one rim, cold half-finished tea in the other. What does that mean? I asked. It means stop embarrassing me. Stop calling. Stop asking where I am like some broke little watchdog. Then I heard a man laugh behind her. Low. Close. Familiar enough to know he was not across an office floor. My hand tightened around the phone. Was that Grant? It was nobody. Put him on. Her voice dropped into ice. You are pathetic. The line went dead. For a while I did not move. I kept the phone pressed to my ear even after the call ended, because part of me was still listening for the woman I had married. The old Madison used to call me from grocery store aisles to ask whether I wanted red apples or green. She used to leave notes in my lunch bag when I worked double shifts at the warehouse. She used to fall asleep with her hand over my wrist like she wanted to make sure I stayed. That Madison had been disappearing one late night at a time. At first, it looked like ambition. New clothes. Longer hours. A promotion track at Harper & Vale. Dinners with executives. Corporate conferences. Words like visibility, access, and image. Then it became correction. Not that shirt, Nathan. It looks cheap. Do not tell that story at dinner. It makes us sound poor. Can you let me answer when Grant asks about investments? You make money sound so small. Every correction cut a little piece off me, and every time I told myself marriage was not about keeping score. But that night, the mortgage statement sat between my hands like a receipt for my own humiliation. At 11:42 p.m., my phone rang again. Unknown number. I almost ignored it. Then I saw the area code match downtown, the same block as Harper & Vale. I answered. Nathan Walker. A man said. Mr. Walker, my name is Marcus Reed. I work night security at Harper & Vale. My chest tightened. Is my wife okay? There was a pause. That depends on what she told you. I straightened so quickly the chair scraped tile behind me. She said her boss needed her late. Marcus exhaled softly. Sir, Mrs. Walker left the 18th floor at 7:04 p.m. No. She just called me from work. She may have called from somewhere in the building, he said. But she has not been in that office for over 4 hours. The kitchen became too quiet. Where is she? I cannot say more on an open line. Then why call me? Because she used your name at the front desk. My stomach locked. For what? Visitor parking validation. 2 hours. Basement level P2. I turned my head slowly toward the framed photo on the counter. Madison and me in the Smoky Mountains, 6 years younger, her cheek pressed against my shoulder, my arm around her waist. She had written we made it on the back of that picture after we bought our first home. I reached out and turned the frame face down. Was Grant Whitaker with her? I asked. Marcus did not answer fast enough. That was the answer. Listen carefully, I said. My voice sounded strange. Not loud. Not broken. Just empty. Do not delete anything. Not logs. Not camera footage. Not badge scans. Not parking records. Nothing. Marcus said. You need a lawyer, Mr. Walker. I looked down at the mortgage statement again. For 10 years, I had thought patience was strength. That night, I learned silence only matters when you know what you are saving it for. Already dialing one, I said. I ended the call, opened my contacts, and found a number I had saved 2 years earlier after Madison's first Chicago conference, the one where her hotel charged us twice, and she came home with a new perfume she claimed came from the airport. Evelyn Brooks. Family law. Asset protection. Litigation. I had never wanted to call her. My thumb hovered over the screen for 3 seconds. Then Madison texted me. Stop being weird. I am exhausted. Going straight to bed when I get home. I stared at the words until they blurred. Then I smiled without feeling a thing. Madison always did think overtime sounded cheaper than a hotel receipt. When Madison came home at 12:26 a.m., she carried her heels in one hand and her phone tucked against her chest like it was evidence that could breathe. She opened the door quietly, but not carefully enough. Her keys hit the side table. Her purse brushed the wall. She smelled like white wine, rain, and a cologne I did not own. I was sitting at the kitchen island with the mortgage statement in front of me, Evelyn Brooks's card beside it, and 1 cup of coffee gone cold by my right hand. Madison stopped in the doorway. Do not, she said. I looked at her bare feet on our floor. Do not what? Do not sit there with that face like I owe you a courtroom explanation because I work harder than you. You came home almost 5.5 hours after you left the office. Her eyes flicked once. Fast. Then the mask came back. I had client drinks. Grant needed me there. Basement P2? Her fingers tightened around her heels. What? I slid the mortgage statement toward her. Before we get to the parking garage, you can explain why you told me I do not carry this house. She walked to the island, dropped her purse, and laughed. Under her breath. Because you do not carry my life, Nathan. You carry bills. That is not the same thing. And Grant carries what? Her face went still. There it was. Not guilt. Not fear. Offense. Like I had touched something that belonged to her more than I did. Careful, she said. Or what? Or I will call an attorney and tell him you are monitoring me. Tracking me. Controlling me. I picked up Evelyn's card and set it between us. Use mine first. Madison stared at the card. Her mouth shifted once, almost into a smile. You are bluffing. No, I said. I am done paying for disrespect with joint money. Her eyes sharpened. You freeze those accounts, and I swear I will make you look insane. Try. Her phone buzzed on the counter. Grant Whitaker lit up the screen for half a second before she flipped it over. Neither of us moved. I pointed at it. Answer him. You do not get to order me around. No, I said, standing. But subpoenas do. I picked up my keys. Madison stepped in front of the garage door. Where are you going? I held Evelyn's card between 2 fingers. To make sure you do not drain another account before breakfast. That was the first time her confidence cracked. Not when I mentioned Grant. Not when I mentioned the parking garage. But when I mentioned the money. Her hand moved toward the card. I pulled it back. Careful. That is my attorney's number, not your receipt. You think a lawyer scares me? She snapped. Grant knows people. Grant needs basement parking to see another man's wife. I am not worried about his network. Her lips parted. The phone buzzed again. This time, she did not flip it over fast enough. Put it on speaker, I said. No. Then I will let Evelyn ask for the call log. She stared at me as if she was trying to find the old version. The one who apologized first. The one who made peace because silence felt safer than losing her. He was not there anymore. Madison stabbed the screen. "What?" she hissed. Grant's voice came through thin and irritated. "Why is your husband calling security?" Madison froze. I looked at her. "Security called me." Grant went quiet for half a second. "Madison, hang up." I leaned closer to the island. "Do not. I want to hear why your boss is panicking after midnight." Grant lowered his voice into the tone men use when they are used to being obeyed in conference rooms. "Nathan, this is a workplace matter. My wife's wedding ring in your parking garage is not workplace." Madison cut in. "Stop. Both of you." I picked up the mortgage statement and slid it beside her phone. "Tell him which account paid for your late nights." Her hand twitched. "You went through my banking?" "Our banking. That is financial abuse." "No," I said. "That is called noticing $8,400 moved out under home repair when the only thing getting serviced was your ego." Grant's voice changed. "Madison, did you use the joint account?" She swallowed. "I was going to put it back." I touched record on my phone and set it face up beside the coffee mug. "Say that again." Madison lunged, but I moved the phone behind the mug before her fingers reached it. "Touch it," I said, "and I add destruction of evidence to the morning agenda." Grant barked. "This is illegal." I tapped Evelyn's card twice on the counter. "Good. Then your lawyer can explain why my wife's boss knew about missing marital funds before I did." The line went silent. Madison looked at the phone as if it had betrayed her. Then Grant hung up. I looked at the empty screen. Funny how fast a powerful man disappears when the bill has his name on it. Madison backed away from the island. For the first time that night, she looked less like a woman coming home from an affair and more like someone who had just realized the floor under her was not marble. It was ice. "I am leaving," she said. "Leave after you explain Whitaker Ridge LLC?" She stopped so hard one heel dropped from her hand and struck the floor. "What did you say?" I opened my laptop and turned it toward her. The document was not hard to find. Not once I knew to look for transfers instead of apologies. $14,200 from our savings. 3 weeks earlier. Sent to Whitaker Ridge LLC. The memo line said business development fee. I clicked the state registry page. Registered agent, Grant Whitaker. Mailing address, a condo office in Scottsdale, Arizona. Unit 218. I had spent enough nights fixing things around our house to know what numbers meant. Square footage. Loan terms. Interest rates. Property taxes. A home tells the truth if you read the paper attached to it. That office was 1,100 square feet. Not a company headquarters. Not a real fund. Not a business venture. A hiding place with a mail slot. Madison's eyes jumped across the screen. "You had no right. You used my routing number." "I did not." I opened the authorization PDF. There it was. My signature. Or someone pretending to be my signature. The N was wrong. Too tall. Too careful. The W leaned backward. I had signed enough mortgage documents to know my own name. Then why is my signature on the authorization? Madison's face emptied. "Nathan." That soft voice nearly worked. It had worked before. After Chicago. After the first unexplained dinner. After the weekend where she said she needed space and came home with hotel shampoo in a bag she claimed was from the gym. That voice was a key she still thought fit. I closed the laptop halfway. "Do not soften your voice now." I dialed Evelyn. She answered on the second ring, like a woman who had heard enough midnight marriages break to know when silence was expensive. "Nathan? I found a transfer, an LLC, and what looks like a forged spousal authorization." Madison slapped the counter. "Hang up." Evelyn's voice sharpened. "Do not let her touch the laptop." "Put me on speaker." I did. Madison took 2 steps back like the keyboard had teeth. You are ruining me, she said. I looked at the fake signature again. No, Madison. You got greedy and used handwriting worse than your marriage vows. She laughed, but it broke at the end. Then anger rushed in to cover the crack. She snatched up her phone and opened a photo. Grant at a rooftop bar, suit jacket open, one hand around a glass, the city behind him like it belonged to him. You see this? She said, turning the screen toward me. That is the world I belong in. Not coupon emails, truck payments, and your little budget meetings. Evelyn said. Mrs. Walker, I advise you to stop talking. Madison raised her chin. No, let her hear it. Let everybody hear it. I am tired of pretending Nathan's small life is enough. I am tired of grocery lists. I am tired of him acting like loyalty is a personality. The words hit, but they did not knock me down. That surprised me. Maybe pain has a limit. Maybe after a certain point, it stops feeling like a knife and starts feeling like weather. Cold. Heavy. Real. But outside you. Madison pointed at Evelyn's card. I will tell the court he isolated me. I will tell them he controlled the money. I will tell them I had to beg for basic things. Evelyn cut in, calm as a locked door. Mrs. Walker, this call is documented. Good. Madison snapped. Document this. I want the house. I want the SUV. I want half his retirement. I want temporary support. I want him to understand what happens when a man like him tries to punish a woman like me. I reached into the junk drawer. Madison watched my hand like she expected me to pull out another bill. Instead, I pulled out a folder. Plain manila. Bent corner. Coffee stain near the tab. I placed it beside the mortgage statement. What is that? Madison asked. The Walker Family Trust. Her smile dropped. Since when? 2 years ago. After your first conference in Chicago. You hid assets? No. I protected premarital assets, my inheritance, and the rental property you called ugly until Zillow said it was worth $310,000. Evelyn said. All disclosed. All clean. Executed before the disputed transfers. Madison reached for the folder. I put my palm on it. Do not. She leaned close enough that I could see one eyelash loose under her left eye. Grant will bury you. I nodded toward her phone. Grant just hung up on the woman who forged my name for him. She looked down at the screen. No new message. No rescue. Only her reflection in black glass. For the rest of the night, Madison paced the living room while Evelyn walked me through what not to say. Do not accuse beyond the documents. Do not block the door. Do not touch her phone. Do not raise your voice. Do not threaten. Preserve records. Save screenshots. Write times down. Let institutions do what angry men ruin by trying to do themselves. So I wrote everything down. 12:31 a.m. Grant asks why I called security. 12:34 a.m. Madison admits on speaker she was going to put joint money back. 12:41 a.m. Forged authorization found. 12:47 a.m. Madison threatens false financial abuse claim. 12:52 a.m. Madison demands house, SUV, retirement, support. 1:03 a.m. Madison says Grant will bury me. The pen moved across the page while she watched from the doorway. You are really going to document your own wife like some criminal? She asked. I did not look up. I am documenting what happened in my house. Our house. I looked at the mortgage statement. Interesting time to remember that. At 1:18 a.m., Madison tried to log into the joint savings account. The bank app denied her. Her face went blank, then hot. What did you do? Evelyn was still on speaker. Nathan, she said. Tell her exactly one thing, then stop talking. I opened my own banking app and turned the screen toward Madison. Joint savings is frozen. You cannot do that. Fraud alert. Forged signature. Suspicious transfer over $10,000. The bank did it in 6 minutes. She stared at the red banner on my screen. Account under review. That phrase did more damage than any shout I could have given her. I am calling Grant, she said. Good. Ask him why Whitaker Ridge LLC received marital funds tied to a forged authorization. Evelyn added. And tell him a civil preservation letter is going to his company email by 8 a.m. Madison's thumb stopped. What letter? One that tells Harper and Vale not to delete emails, badge logs, expense reports, security footage, or messages involving you, Grant, and that LLC, Evelyn said. Madison's color drained. That will get me fired. No, I said. Forging my name might. She sank into the chair across from me. The same chair where she used to sit with her laptop open on Sunday mornings while I made eggs. The same chair where she once told me she loved how steady I was. Now she looked at that steadiness like it was cruelty. Nathan, she said, quieter. Please. I closed the folder and put it under my arm. Save it for the deposition. You always wanted a bigger stage. By 7:50 the next morning, the house looked almost normal. Sunlight came through the blinds. The coffee maker clicked. A delivery truck passed outside. Somewhere down the block, a dog barked at nothing. Madison had showered, put on a navy blazer, and rebuilt herself in the upstairs bathroom. Makeup, hair, earrings. The face she wore for rooms full of people who mattered. I was at the kitchen table, reading the mortgage statement again, not because I needed to, but because it had become a map. Every number told me where I had been asleep. Madison came downstairs carrying her laptop bag. I am going to work, she said. I looked up. Are you sure they want you there? Do not be disgusting. She reached for the garage keys. The SUV is still marital property, I said. Then enjoy half the gas bill. She left without looking back. At 8:12 a.m. my phone rang. Madison. I answered and said nothing. Her voice came through sharp and breathless. What did you do? Be specific. My badge will not work. I heard lobby noise behind her. Shoes on tile. Elevator chimes. A man's voice saying, Ma'am, please step away from the turnstile. Madison lowered her voice. Security is treating me like a criminal. Security is preserving access logs. Grant is not answering. That sounds consistent. This is not funny. People are staring. My phone buzzed with a text from Evelyn. Preservation letter delivered. Compliance acknowledged. Do not engage beyond counsel. Then Madison whispered, They just walked Grant out. I looked at the mortgage statement. With a box or without one? Stop enjoying this. I am documenting it. Another voice came on. Female. Controlled. Corporate enough to cut glass. Mr. Walker, this is Patricia Lane from Harper & Vale Corporate Compliance. We need confirmation that your counsel sent a fraud notice regarding a transfer connected to Whitaker Ridge LLC. Madison snapped. Patricia, this is a marital issue. Patricia did not raise her voice. Company records are not marital issues, Mrs. Walker. Company funds are not marital issues. Undisclosed executive relationships are not marital issues when they touch compliance review. Madison went silent. I said, All contact goes through Evelyn Brooks. Understood, Patricia said. Please have counsel preserve all bank correspondence and the recording you referenced. Madison shouted, Recording? Patricia said, Mrs. Walker, do not speak on this line. Then Madison's voice broke into panic. They froze my corporate card. Good, I said. Try the Scottsdale Condo Fund. She breathed once hard. Nathan. What? My SUV is being towed from executive parking. I folded the mortgage statement once. Should have parked next to your dignity. Both were easier to repossess. I hung up before she could turn my calm into an argument. That was the hardest part. Not the documents. Not the money. Not even hearing Grant's voice through my wife's phone. The hardest part was refusing the old rhythm. She would panic, and I would soothe. She would accuse, and I would explain. She would insult, and I would prove I still loved her by absorbing it. That morning I did none of it. I cleaned the kitchen. I put the mugs in the dishwasher. I turned the framed mountain photo upright again, looked at it for a long second, then placed it in a drawer. Not thrown away. Not smashed. Just removed from the performance. By noon, Madison was standing in our driveway with no SUV, no badge, one broken heel, and a cardboard box with Harper and Vale written on the side. She slapped the folded mortgage statement against my chest. You wanted the house? Take it. I cannot even get inside without my keycard. I took the paper and unfolded it. This says you missed 2 automatic transfers because you moved money to Whitaker Ridge. Grant said he would cover it. Grant's attorney just denied any personal relationship with you. Her mouth opened. Nothing came out. That silence was not grief. It was math. She was calculating how many people had stepped backward from her in 12 hours. I held out Evelyn's card. Call your lawyer before you say something useful. She knocked it out of my hand. My accounts are locked. Fraud review. My corporate card is dead. Compliance review. Patricia told me to return my laptop by 5 p.m. Evidence preservation. Madison grabbed my sleeve. I looked down at her fingers until she let go. Nathan, she whispered. I need $3,000 for a retainer. The woman who had called me a broke little watchdog now needed me to fund her defense against stealing from me. Something inside my chest went quiet. Not peaceful yet, but quiet. Use Grant's network. Her face folded. He blocked me. Smartest thing he has done all week. She stepped closer, voice shaking with a new kind of softness. I have nowhere to go. I looked past her at the house. The lawn I mowed every Saturday. The porch light I replaced twice because she liked a warmer bulb. The front door we painted blue because she said it felt hopeful. You tried to steal the roof over my head to buy a condo with another man, I said. Now you are surprised rent exists. She stared at me. You used to love me. I used to know you. That hurt her more than anger would have. She turned away first. For the next 48 hours, the truth spread without me raising my voice once. Not online. Not through a dramatic post. Not through drunken calls to friends. I did not send screenshots to her sister. I did not call her mother. I did not stand in the driveway and tell the neighbors. The truth moved through systems. The bank opened a fraud investigation. Harper and Vale locked Madison out of company accounts. Grant retained outside counsel. Evelyn filed for temporary orders. Marcus Reed signed a statement confirming badge logs, front desk validation, and P2 camera preservation. The mortgage statement stayed in my folder, marked Exhibit A. It looked too simple to carry that much weight. 1 page. Black numbers. Due date. Payment history. But that was the page Madison had mocked. That was the page she had used to tell me I only carry bills. That was the page that proved what she had stopped respecting long before she stopped hiding. On Friday morning, I sat in Evelyn's office across from a glass conference table. Evelyn was in her 60s, silver hair pinned back, reading glasses low on her nose, voice dry enough to sand paint. She laid the documents out in order. We are not making a morality argument, she said. Judges do not care that your wife was cruel. They care about money, conduct, and credibility. So we lead with money, conduct, and credibility. She tapped the first page. Mortgage statement. Shows your contribution and the missed transfers. Second page. Bank freeze. Shows reasonable response to suspected fraud. Third page. LLC registry. Shows connection to Grant Whitaker. Fourth. Authorization with disputed signature. Fifth. Security log. Shows timeline conflict. Sixth. Recording transcript. Shows admission that funds were to be returned and Grant's awareness. She looked over her glasses. Your job is to stay boring. Boring? Yes. Hurt men want to be dramatic. Smart men let the other side do that alone. I nodded. Can I say what she said to me? Only if asked? Can I say she called me a broke watchdog? Not unless I need it. Can I say she wanted the rooftop world? Evelyn almost smiled. Nathan, I know you want the room to understand what she did to your heart. But the fastest way to protect your future is to prove what she did on paper. I looked at the folder. Paper beats panic. Madison had thought paper was beneath her. Bills. Statements. Ledgers. Authorizations. Trust documents. Receipts. She wanted rooms, power, names, glass buildings, rooftop photographs. But paper was where the truth waited. The temporary hearing took place the following Tuesday at 9 a.m. Madison arrived in a black dress I recognized from our anniversary dinner 3 years earlier. She had cried that night because I surprised her with a weekend cabin in Asheville. She said nobody had ever planned something just for her. Now she wore the dress like armor. Her attorney looked too young for the amount of panic in his briefcase. Grant was not there. That mattered. Madison looked over her shoulder twice before the judge entered. Once toward the door. Once toward the hallway. No Grant. No network. No powerful man with a hand on her back. Just her, a borrowed attorney, and a folder she could not talk her way through. The hearing lasted 19 minutes. The judge reviewed the bank freeze, the forged authorization, the LLC transfer, and the request for temporary access to marital funds. Madison leaned forward. Your Honor, I have been locked out of my accounts. I need support. My husband is using money to punish me. Evelyn did not look at Madison. She slid one page across the table. Mrs. Walker diverted $14,200 from marital savings into an entity connected to her supervisor while employed at Harper & Vale. There is a pending compliance investigation and potential reimbursement exposure. My client requested a fraud review after discovering what appears to be a forged spousal authorization. The judge looked at Madison. Did you authorize this transfer? Madison swallowed. It was an investment. That was not my question. Her attorney touched her arm. Your Honor, my client is not prepared to answer questions that may involve separate civil or employment matters. The judge nodded once. Then the request for unrestricted access is denied for now. Mrs. Walker is restrained from accessing marital funds without written agreement or court order. Both parties are ordered to preserve financial records, electronic communications, and employment-related documents relevant to the alleged transfer. The gavel did not slam. Real consequences usually do not sound cinematic. They sound like a clerk typing. Madison turned on me in the hallway. You are really going to let me drown? I kept my folder under my arm. No. The paperwork is. I was your wife. You were my liability. Her eyes filled, and for 1 second I saw the girl from the mountain photo. Or maybe I wanted to. Then she whispered, I hate you. I nodded. That is cheaper than discovery. 2 weeks later, the settlement conference was held in a downtown mediation office with beige walls, stale coffee, and a window that looked out over a parking garage. That felt appropriate. Madison sat across from me, smaller than I had ever seen her. Not physically. Her posture was still straight. Her hair was still perfect. Her nails still clicked on the table. But the room no longer moved around her. That was the difference. Grant's attorney had sent a letter denying any personal relationship. Harper & Vale had placed Grant on administrative leave pending investigation. Madison had been suspended without pay. Whitaker Ridge LLC was under review. Her corporate laptop had been imaged. Her company phone had been collected. The Scottsdale condo office had turned out to be a rented mailing suite with 3 other shell entities attached to the same address. Evelyn called it useful. I called it exactly what it was. A bigger lie than Madison could afford. The mediator started with the house. Given the missed mortgage transfers and current financial uncertainty, the marital home will be listed for sale unless one party can refinance. Madison looked at me. You would sell our home? You tried to use it as leverage while moving money behind my back. I loved that house. I looked at the folded mortgage statement in front of me. You loved what it said about you. Her attorney shifted. Evelyn slid the trust documents forward. My client's premarital assets and inheritance are protected. His retirement is subject to offset for unauthorized transfers, pending further findings. We are prepared to subpoena Harper and Vale, Grant Whitaker, Whitaker Ridge LLC, and the registered agent records if settlement fails. Madison's attorney leaned toward her and whispered. Madison stared at the pen in front of her. Grant said this would not touch me, she said. Nobody answered. That was the cleanest truth in the room. She had mistaken proximity for protection. She had mistaken attention for loyalty. She had mistaken my quiet for weakness. And she had mistaken paper for something poor men worried about. Evelyn placed the preservation letter on the table. Company subpoenas go out Monday. Madison's hand trembled. The pen rolled toward her. She did not pick it up. Nathan, she said, and this time the softness was real enough to hurt. Please do not make everything public. I thought about every dinner where she corrected me in front of Grant. Every time she pulled her hand away in an elevator. Every time she called me insecure for noticing the truth. Every late night, every missing dollar, every smile she gave her phone that used to belong to me. I thought about the man I had almost become if Marcus had not called. Suspicious. Begging. Apologizing. Paying. Waiting up. Then I looked at the mortgage statement. I am not making it public, I said. I am making it legal. There is a difference. Madison closed her eyes. Her attorney whispered. Again. Finally, she picked up the pen. The settlement terms were not dramatic, but they were final. The house would be sold. The unauthorized transfers would be credited against her share. My protected assets would remain protected. Each party would keep separate debts created after the date of filing. She would cooperate with bank and employment investigations. No temporary support. No unrestricted access. No public allegations without documented basis. No more using my name to open doors I never agreed to walk through. Madison signed first. Her name looked small under mine. When it was over, the mediator gathered papers and left the room. Evelyn closed her folder. Madison stayed seated. Was any of it real to you? She asked. I stood, holding the mortgage statement in one hand. For a moment, I wanted to give the kind answer. The one that would let both of us pretend she had only gotten lost. But peace built on a lie is just another mortgage you pay alone. It was real to me, I said. That was the problem. She looked down. No speech followed. No final apology strong enough to repair anything. No rooftop man bursting through the door. No last twist. Just a woman sitting with the cost of being believed by the wrong person and the consequence of being underestimated by the right one. I walked out into the hallway. Evelyn followed a few steps behind me. At the elevator, she said, "You did well." I looked at the folded statement. It does not feel like winning. It usually does not at first. The elevator opened. Inside, the mirrored wall showed a man I recognized and did not recognize. Tired eyes. Set jaw. Wedding ring still on his finger. I took the ring off before the doors closed. Not with anger. Not with ceremony. Just thumb and forefinger, one slow turn, metal leaving skin. At home that evening, the house was quieter than I expected. Not empty. Quiet. There is a difference. I packed Madison's remaining things carefully. Clothes folded. Shoes paired. Jewelry bagged and listed. No damage. No revenge. No small destruction to prove a big hurt. On the kitchen island, I placed the box with her name on it. Then I opened the drawer and took out the mountain photo. I looked at it one last time. The people in that picture had made promises they did not fully understand. One of them broke them. One of them finally stopped paying for the break. I put the photo into an envelope with the rest of her personal things. The mortgage statement stayed with me. A week later, the realtor put a sign in the yard. 2 weeks after that, Madison came by with her attorney to collect boxes. She looked smaller in daylight. No blazer. No executive badge. No SUV. A rental sedan idling by the curb. She stepped into the kitchen and saw the island bare. "Where is the photo?" she asked. I pointed to the sealed envelope on top of her box. "With your things." She touched the envelope but did not open it. "Grant is gone," she said. I did not respond. "They fired him. He says he was advised not to contact me." Still, I said nothing. She looked at my left hand. The ring was gone. That was when she finally cried. Not when the badge failed. Not when the card froze. Not when the judge denied support. Not when Grant disappeared. When she saw the empty place where her last claim on me used to sit. "Nathan," she whispered. I picked up the folded mortgage statement from the counter and placed it into my folder. "Your attorney is waiting." She nodded once, like the words had landed somewhere too deep to argue with. At the door, she turned back. "I thought you would fight for me." I looked at the woman I had loved, the woman I had lost, and the woman who had tried to make my loyalty look cheap. "I did," I said. "Then I started fighting for myself." She walked out. The door closed softly behind her. No slam. No shouting. No performance. Just a lock clicking into place. 3 months later, I moved into a smaller house on the edge of town with a porch that faced west and a garage big enough for my old truck. The first night there, I ate dinner on a folding table because the furniture had not arrived. The plate was paper. The chair squeaked. The house smelled like fresh paint and cardboard. It was not impressive. It was mine. I set the folded mortgage statement in a file box labeled closed. Not because I wanted to remember every wound. Because I wanted to remember the night I stopped confusing endurance with love. Then I turned off the kitchen light, stepped onto the porch, and watched the sky go dark without waiting for anyone to come home.